collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.
Greetings, friends of the A Collision with Purpose Project. Welcome. Wow, what an awesome day, right? We're so close to the big day. So, welcome to Voice of Man in a Changing World. I'm Dr. Laxa Stevenson. This groundbreaking podcast delves into the multifaceted experiences of men across different generations. And you're seeing some of these differences here, right? In an era where societal norms and expectations rapidly evolve, this show offers young and older men a unique platform to voice their challenges, triumphs, and perspectives.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Augusta Foster, one of your co-hosts, and in each of these episodes, we aim to foster an understanding and bridge the gap between generations, exploring ranging topics of masculinity to mental health, career dynamics, and personal relationships.
I'm Xavier Wilcox, also your host, and by bringing together voices from varied age groups, the show sheds light on the commonalities and differences in the male experience, encouraging open dialogue and mutual learning.
Juan Marcel here, and whether it's a teenager grappling with the pressures of a social media or a senior reflecting on the changing definitions of manhood, Bridging Generations is committed to uncovering the real stories of men navigating the complexities of a changing world. And we are your moderators for Bridging Generations, Voices of Men. We're happy to have you all tonight. Guys, we're back. Doc, what's going on?
Wow, we are back. I should be asking you, gentlemen, what is going on, because I know you're out there. You have your, you just know what's happening much more than I do. So I'm going to be here to learn from you guys tonight. But guess what? We have a packed night, loaded. We have a powerful guest coming on. We're going to learn more about him in a minute or so. But before we go there, we have some things to talk about. And March 2nd is right around the corner. How many days is that from here?
24 hours.
Oh, it's not days, it's hours.
Yeah. I depending on your time zone, I say that it's 24 hours, because if you haven't purchased the ticket yet, you should have purchased the ticket yesterday, but you do have a chance tomorrow and the day of. So within the next 24 hours, if you want to come out and take a part with some amazing minds, have a great conversation, live entertainment, and to be amongst people who are really looking and actively cultivating the future and changing your community, Snellville's the place to be on Saturday night. Cancel your plans. Make plans to be in Snellville Saturday night.
4210 Shiloh Road in Snellville, Georgia. Shiloh High
Shiloh
School.
High School.
We'll be in the theater. And guess what? Xavier Wilcox, he will, our host here, he will be doing the welcoming remarks there. He'll be welcoming you to the event. So Xavier, what you got to say?
And it's going to be a wonderful time. And to all the seniors that are out there, come on, because we're giving out money. Yeah, we're giving out money. So come on, get yourself entered into the scholarship that we're going to give out. And you never know if you're going to get it unless you come. So pull up.
Why didn't you tell me about you giving out money? I make sure I'm going to be there.
Oh, you're giving out money.
I thought you was going to give us some too.
My commitment was to say no. I'm saying no. You're giving out money.
I'm getting ready to sign up. Probably wear a different type of outfit to be there to collect that money. Yes, we are giving out money. We're giving out 3 scholarships for students in attendance. And, you know, our producer, Donna Thompson, host of the event, she's organizing it in such a way that I think what she's doing, when students show up at the event, she'll get their names and she'll drop it into some type of bucket or hat, and then some point during the show we will go into the bucket and we'll select names. And 3 of those students will be the recipients of a Collision with Purpose scholarship. So isn't that awesome?
Awesome.
That is exceptional.
That's amazing, man.
See, I like how one you put it, you know, awesome is awesome, but exceptional is special.
Yeah. That's unprecedented, you know.
It is. And that's another word I like, because this event is unprecedented. It is not a typical book signing.
No.
We're honoring 13 individuals, 13 of our unsung heroes. These individuals are out there doing it, day in, day out. We're honoring our students. In fact, students can attend this event for free, no charge.
Free.
That's a big deal.
Mm.
We are not holding them back. We're not restricting them from learning and growing because of some $100 or whatever. We're making this event available to them because we believe, we know that what we're doing is so important. What they will learn there is necessary. So we should not let money get in the way of that. In fact, we're giving them money for coming. 3 of them, only 3. We got to be careful with that, because next thing you know, Xavier will be saying, he's giving away some more money. Giving away some more money. We don't want this.
They're going to take you down.
Man, listen, think it is Willy Wonka with the golden ticket. They'll be like, Dr. Loxley, we heard.
So you heard it here. Xavier said it. We're giving away 3 scholarships, and that's exactly what we'll be doing. And
where else can you go and get paid for just showing up?
Man,
Where they do that at?
They didn't do that back in my time.
No.
There was no giveaway. You had to earn that.
I had to write something. I had to audition. I had to do something.
Yes. And so there's also entertainment. We're having guitar player will be playing. We're having a saxophone player. We're having recitals. We're having other types of entertainment. From students will be performing as well, you know, and professional musicians will be performing as well. So it's just going to be an amazing night, you know. And I tell you what, the big thing too, we talk about we're honoring people. We have our collaborators in the book. I interviewed 70 plus individuals from different corners of the world. And guess what? 2 of those individuals, they're on this platform right now, Juan and Augusta, and their story is in the book. Isn't that powerful?
Somebody put me on the program.
You'll be like, what? Yeah, listen. Oh, no, the program.
So both of them will be, in fact, all 4 of us on this platform will be speaking. It seems like we've been practicing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So all 4 of us will be speaking at this powerful event, a colloquium in pursuit of purpose. And you know, when you purchase your ticket, right, $100 for the ticket, you admit 2 individuals, but you also get a signed copy of this the hard copy, this powerful book.
There it is.
One, your story is in there. Powerful story. Augusta, your story is in there. And Augusta, there was a thing you said in your story that when your friend saw you in that police uniform, your friend said, "You a police officer?"
Yeah.
No way, no how can you be?
They let you be the feds, is what I was told.
So they let you. That was it. Okay, you of all people. That's what he was saying to you, right?
Yeah. But that is, when God has blessed you to be on your purpose, situations that you really shouldn't have made it out of. Miraculously, you look back 20, 30 years and say, hey man, that purpose, the blessing of that purpose got me out of there.
Wow. That's big.
He redeemed you to be the bridge.
Man, listen.
Yeah. And here we are tonight, bridging generations, voices of men. And we'll have 5 men on this platform tonight talking about the stuff, right? Shedding shackles. That is what we're going to talk about tonight. But before we even get into that, we made a commitment. So let's talk about the commitment. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
Go ahead, X. No, go ahead.
So my commitment.
We're fighting to go first, you know. That's the type of.
No, I'm just used to it. Getting thrown under the bus. But my commitment was to say no and to focus more on myself.
May have some internet issues, temporarily. I think.
He's back. He's back.
I was about to say, did the internet tell you?
Did the internet
tell you no?
Yeah.
I love it. So tell us about saying no.
But yeah, so I was saying no, and I was focusing on myself, but I didn't realize that with me saying no, God can still say no as well. So a lot of things were going good for myself. I was positioning myself to get into another job to get some more income. Everything was going great, everything was going good, but I just needed a few documents from the IRS. I hope they're listening to me because I got some words from the IRS, but I needed a few documents and they didn't come on time. And I looked at it like I was doing everything right. Did all the paperwork and stuff like that, but I wasn't totally into the position that I wanted to be in. I was trying to convince myself to be there, but I feel like it was God kind of telling me not just yet. And then even though with that moment, I still went on the same company, same website, and I seen 2 more jobs that paid double the price that they were paying for that job. So with me being hard-headed and still kind of trying to go against what was, meant for me and just trying to go forward and rush into something, God still kind of kept me level-headed and kept me grounded into where I needed to be. So just because you say no doesn't mean that that's God saying yes. That's kind of how I sum it up.
Awesome.
So now you wait in the what did the Juan is old enough to remember, with the old folks you say, in due season. You wait in due season.
Yeah.
The time is coming.
I know there's one thing I'll never hear from Xavier again. Was it last week when he said it about the gray?
Oh, the gray hair.
All the gray.
I don't think he'll go there again.
But I almost had a few come out in my crown.
Oh wow! All right, let's just keep it going around the table.
Well, Lavon, I'll let you go. You seemed excited with Xavier.
Man, I just want to add that I'm still a lot of you realize that behind the scenes it seems like things to everyone else on the outside looking in, like things moving swiftly. Behind the scenes, it's a lot of work, making callbacks, checking emails, and just I talked about this, putting myself out there. So rather than I'm in this season of, doing things scared and not overthinking it, is me putting myself out there. So not waiting for things to happen for me, but making things happen. So that's never been my mantra. I've always been of this mindset, well, if it's meant for me to have, to just fall in my lap, and I think I had to learn as I got older, like sometimes I can be a bit lazy, because there's what are you doing in the interim? And so that's what I've been doing in this season, is not waiting on things to happen for me. And so I've been using this opportunity to just develop relationships and network. One person in particular is a former NFL player. He played for the Detroit Lions. He came in to tour the academy, and just the first time we met, we just connected, and just everything that he does, I'm like, bruh, I used to be there. And it's, I'm gonna say this, it kind of made me feel old, because at first he was like, man, Juan, you're where I want to be. As I get older, I'm like, bro, I didn't even tell you my age. What you mean where you want to be? But it was a compliment. But everything he's doing now at what 30, 31, he was just in Vegas. He had an event for the Super Bowl, and even partnered with Usher. So we've been talking back and forth through some things. And so he's from the area where I work. And so we've been talking about just adding more young guys to the lock-in and just the program period. So we're in the process of talking through a mentorship program, what that looks like, getting some of his buddies from the league, that are retired or some still active, to come and just to share some time, share some insight, especially the guys who want to go pro and do all of this, but they bring insight to what that really looks like. And then for those who are really serious about it, what it takes in the classroom and on the field and just in life. So we're in the process of talking through that right now. So I'm excited about that.
As you should. As you should. Powerful stuff. All big things happening. So
love it.
I had a meeting this morning. I was online at 7 a.m. with Minister Patrick and his team from Kenya, Hope and Destiny Foundation. And man, was it awesome. We had a meeting, which we'll be doing once a month with the students that we're sponsoring. We had 3 of them on this morning. And I was so inspired by them, these kids, and their vision, what they're building on and wanting to achieve, for themselves and for their family. It was just so powerful. I left that meeting knowing that there's more work that we need to do, more work, and that I'm in the right place as well, and that a collision with purpose is doing the right thing. And at the event you'll see more. You'll see more of that. We'll be playing some videos. But walk away from the meeting more than convinced that yes, the right work has been done and in the right place at the right time. So, powerful stuff there. And so the next meeting with these students, we'll probably do it live on this platform. How about that?
That'd be cool.
We'll probably do it live. And because when something good is happening, we have a responsibility to get it out there, right? Enough bad things is getting out there, right?
Right.
So how do we counter all that stuff that is floating around out there, that's coming at us, that's so rapid, so fast? Is to get enough good things out there. So that is exactly what we'll do in a meeting coming up. So great meeting this morning. It actually lasted for 3 hours. That's how good it was. Mm-hmm. We did it on this. Yeah, we did it on, and it's powerful stuff. But what is happening, gentlemen? What is going on in the news? What is happening out there that can impact us? Augusta, you have anything for us?
I'll say 2. They're not minor, but two historic things occurred. A special shout out to my cousin Robert Woodley, who played an integral role in organizing and developing Toledo, Ohio's, and I believe Northern Ohio's first Black-owned barber college ever in the city. And I believe in Northern Ohio, it's the first time or something like that in over 100 years. And also to my cousin, Anthony Glover Jr., who in nearly, I believe, 200 plus years of his former high school standing, there had never been a Black alumni hired as a full-time member of faculty staff. So my cousin Anthony this past week, the first Black alumni hired by his high school, and it's 200 plus years of existence. So some amazing history for the family. So yeah, just a special salute to them, because I know they'll go back and watch this, man. I greatly appreciate y'all, you know, for being family and just being able to watch history play out in real time. Is it, man, like there's nothing like it.
History makers.
Man, like literally, I had to tell my cousin when I called him, I said, I was like, you're in a book. I was like, you have to understand, like, your face at some point in juncture in time will go on to a wall as a representative for not just his family, but your people as a whole at an institution that's graduated state senators and mayors and military generals. I'm like, you are truly leading the way for the next generation there. Like, and it's amazing, man. So, outside of that, the news I had was, I believe it was maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago on one of these episodes, and we kind of went into a little bit about politics. And I just said, you know, I've always been someone who, I grew up with a mother who was involved in politics in Los Angeles. I'm somebody who's a huge supporter of voting locally and understand the importance of voting locally. Down in the state of Mississippi, I believe it's State Bill 8454. There's been a proposal passed to, in June of 2028, they want to consolidate a number of colleges. And the reason this is important news to those of us and many of the people who watch, one of them is an all-women's college in Mississippi, which has been standing for years. The other three are land-grant institutions, historically Black colleges, HBCUs. Now, this was initially pitched around 7 to 8 years ago, and it gained no traction. The Republican senator who pushed it, nobody would agree to it. They said there's no way we're closing institutions. But fast forward in the climate that we live in today, and you know, just the lack of funding and underfunding for HBCUs and the attention that they've gotten where the money hasn't lined up, they're now looking in the next 3.5 years to close, I believe, Alcorn. I can't believe if it's Alcorn, but it's Alcorn State, Jackson State University, and Mississippi Valley. And these are schools where each of them have basically, you know, you look at a school like Mississippi Valley and their graduation and its existence in the surrounding county area created the middle class for Black people. An institution like Alcorn that introduced people to higher level education and technological jobs. And it would be an absolute disservice. So I wanted to bring that here to just talk about, you know, the not just the underfunding and lack of funding, but to start the conversation on not just is education important, but education is extremely important when gained from people who look like you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mississippi, thumbs down to you as of right now.
And you know, the big story there is the content is powerful. However, we must vote.
Right.
Vote.
Absolutely.
Local elections. You know, we often tend to get excited when it's a presidential election. But there are decisions made locally every single day that is affecting us, our lives, in so many ways. So vote. Can we say that? Let's say vote.
Vote.
Can't say that enough. Can't say that enough.
Every time.
Every time. And get to know your local, you know, politicians. Get to know them. Get to know them. So thanks for sharing that. You know, thanks for sharing that, Augusta. What is there anything else you want to talk about before we take our first break? Anything else? You have anything on your mind you want to share, Xavier?
Well, I was just going to say, just to what Augusta just shared, I actually have family members who went to Mississippi Valley State and are doing pretty well, and I credit a lot of it to that experience. So that's alarming and just interesting to hear that. My brother actually went to Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, but this isn't going to be the stop of it with HBCUs. They are slowly but surely attacking it. I know, because I went to HBCU in South Carolina. They're working on doing the same thing over there. They've been doing some things with the funding that goes to HBCUs. Like in South Carolina, pretty much every HBCU is directly next to another school, and they give a certain amount of funding to schools and that are away from each other versus the ones that are next to each other. They get a small amount of funding, and every HBCU is next to another HBCU in South Carolina.
Wow.
But Just be on the lookout for this. Is not if it can happen to Jackson State, it can happen to Clark Atlanta, it can happen to Morris Brown, it can happen to any of the schools that are near us.
Right.
So just be on the lookout. We got to protect our schools.
Don't sound to me like they're shedding shackles, huh?
Yeah.
Trying to put them back on.
They're putting them on. Yeah. Now, gentlemen, and because of that, let me ask you a question. Why is Bridging Generations, Voices of Men important? Why is this an important platform?
Oh, I think it's in the title. Twofold. Bridging generations and then the voices of men. Two things that I honestly don't think that and I'll just be honest, that the systems of America were designed for such platforms that we're sitting on. Number one, for Black and brown men to bind together and see eye to eye in order to strengthen their community, right? And to give a voice to a lot of real issues and not just complain, not even complain, but even provide solutions and insight that will empower and invigorate, you know. And so our country is not designed for that. So that's why it's major, because we're sitting here and to some it may just seem like another podcast or some black guys talking, but the truth of it is in the title, like Bridging Generations, you know. And we're not the only ones. And I tip my hat off to everyone else that's out there working and putting in work to strengthen our community, because this is what we get to do, is change the narrative, because it's been told for us, and it's been told for us for too long, to the point we're talking about education. And in several states, a few states, they're trying to do away and erase our history. Right. And so if no one's speaking out about it, then the generations that come up, they only believe what they're being taught. So someone has to be bold enough to say that's not the truth, you know, and stand. What did John Lewis say? You know, the late great, you know, good trouble. And I'm all about good trouble. You know, if it's going to strengthen the community, you know, and provide more shoulders for us to stand on, then I'm all down for good trouble.
John Lewis, what a man, what a leader.
Love it.
Yeah. Yes.
This is definitely important, because stuff like this doesn't go viral. It's easier for let's say Vlad TV or Charleston White, but he depending on what he's saying on a good day, he might say something good, but he has to go through all that stuff for you to even hear what he has to say. We're coming to you straight up front, clean cut, off the dome, literally, with how we feel, and it's what is needed to be said and needed to be discussed, but it's not getting reached at the people that need to hear it, because we have all this other stuff going on. But
well, we're changing some things, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to shake it up. We're going to shake it up. And what we're doing here, because it is so important, because as one said, it's in the title. Bridging Generations, Voices of Men. Essential, right? All right, so Augusta, I know you didn't get to jump in, but we need to take a break. We need to take a break. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, you will introduce our guest. You know, we don't want to have him waiting too long in the green room, right? So when we come back, we'll bring him on. So let's take a quick break.
A collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.
right, we had some familiar faces in that video. Those are the individuals are in the book. Some off, some off. Like I said, some of them are there, some are missing. So we interviewed 70 plus individuals. 18 of those stories are in the book. So you know there'll be a volume 2 coming because all of those stories, all those individuals could have made it, but I was told we could only do 18. So that is the only reason we don't have a book with 70. If not, it would be a big, giant book. Anyway, so let's keep it moving. Is our guest ready? Is Lavon, is he ready? I don't see him. I don't see him. Lavon is ready. All right, Augusta, can you bring him on? Let's introduce, do what you do, and then we'll give him a drum, bring him on.
So extremely excited to invite this brother on. Talk about trials, tribulations, setbacks, disappointment. A man who on his 3rd birthday, his father was killed. A man who experienced the issues with relationships, abuse, being on welfare for over a decade with his mother. But through it all, he lives by Romans 12:2 and Deuteronomy 31:8. Christ has always been the center of his life. He believes that his faith has solidified who he is. It helped his mother transition immediately from junior college into work. It helped him graduate from Westchester University outside of Philadelphia. He's an accomplished author. He's written 3 books. He runs an amazing nonprofit called Path to Greatness, which I'm sure he's going to go into that and the work that they've done. In the time that he has been running that program, he has engaged over 10,000 students in over 40 schools in the Philadelphia area. So when we talk about bridging generations and people active in their community, I believe Lavon absolutely exemplifies that. Not only does he do it alone, he has an awesome helpmeet in his wife. They do a show and a couple of events that they refer to as Hanging with the Howards LLC. And they're basically trying to get couples to where they are in their life of being blessed and finding themselves and being healthy just as couples. So yeah, man, amazing brother. Glad to bring him on here. Glad for him to talk about the work that he and his family and his team are doing. So yeah, man, you guys could bring my brother Lavon Howard on up.
Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum. Oh, he got on there before the roll, but that's okay. That's okay. He showed up. Lavon, how are you, man? You sound like a superhero, man.
No, I'm not a superhero. I'm just a servant of God. That's all I am.
That bio, man, you doing it, brother.
And sometimes I'm looking back, I'm like, wow, that's really me. Sometimes you gotta humble yourself. You're like, that's the life that's really happened to my life. So, some things that I wish I accomplished, not accomplished yet. So so that's all work of God. So God's doing my life and how He brought me over when I didn't have a relationship with Him when I was younger. So, like Augustus said, my father was murdered on my 3rd birthday. I was 3 years old, and I born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Born and raised in North Philadelphia. You really had to have a tough mindset to survive the streets of North Philadelphia. And what you see every day is streets, drugs, violence, negativity. But like I grew up in a single parent home. My mom, I was on welfare first 14 years. And when I got pregnant, my mom got pregnant. When she had a baby, she quit her job. So she really quit her job immediately. Back in the day, she worked at this place called Bell Atlantic. This is now, I think, for Verizon now. But she had a good job there. She was young. And when she had me, she didn't quit her job. She didn't want me in daycare. They want people, strangers around me, so she wanted to do it by herself. And fast forward a couple years later, my dad was murdered on his birthday for no reason, for no reason at all, because he refused to give someone a gold watch that he got from his job on that day. So then from there, I developed I had a lot of issues, self-esteem issues growing up, and I had a speech problem growing up where I go to speech therapy from 2nd grade through college. So I went to speech therapy from 2nd grade for 5th grade, middle school, 7th, 8th grade, off of high school, and I did 3 years of college because that was more at 18, 19, 21, my decision to do it because I wanted to be a teacher. So my first dream growing up was to be I wanted to be a sports announcer on ESPN. That was my favorite show growing up, and my favorite person growing up was actually Stuart Scott. So
Booyah!
yeah, yeah. So he the first person that gravitated toward me. I like, okay, oh, I can see what I'm doing this. So there were others like James Brown. There was
JB.
John Saunders. You know, but Stuart Scott was different because he was his own person. Like he didn't let people that way trying to transform him and be something that he wasn't. So, and it was sad that he passed away, but a lot of people didn't know his story to the end when he dealt with cancer, and and like a lot of people didn't know what he did. He opened a lot of doors for a lot of people. So that was my person growing up. But when I got to that was my dream for about 6 years when I was younger. Then eighth grade, when I was 14 years old, I was doing this program where the eighth graders would go down to the younger grades to talk to them for help them out for a Wednesday. So I went there. I was part of another person. The person stopped showing up, and I started leading the kids in games and having fun with them. And I know as every time I came down where the kids got excited, they would know that I was going to have fun with them, but also going to learn something at the same time. And that kind of opened up the door for me to like, hey, I should pursue teaching because there's something that I didn't see growing up. I didn't see black males in the classroom. I remember I had one black male teacher in my experience that was the fourth grade. So I never saw black men. I saw black women in the classroom, but I never saw black men in the classroom leading students and facilitating lessons with students. So, I wanted to change the narrative of that while I was 14 years old. So I wanted to be a teacher, even though I went through a lot of bullying. I was bullied a lot of years. I really had no friends. I was the only child. So high school was like I was pretty much by myself, and I did play baseball 4 years. I played football 1 year, but I was still alone. I was by myself, and a lot of people were not in the journey of supporting me in terms of, hey, I want to be a teacher. So so that was my path, and that was something I was going to do, and I didn't know how to go around doing it. So, and plus I was in North Philly. I grew in North Philly, and like I'll tell you one story that really changed my life. And so going to elementary school, I went to school for second and fifth grade. Then at fifth grade, all those kids I knew in my school were going to a school called Everson. So I was thinking, I'm going there because my friends are going there. So my mom told me one day, she said, "You going to a school called Dobson?" I never heard of this school in my life, never been to visit, anything like that. So the school was pretty much in a white neighborhood, the other side of the city in Maine. So North Philly. So basically that means basically middle school years I had to get up 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, and eat breakfast, get ready for school, then take the school bus. The first stop of the school bus to Dobson, and the last stop to Dobson from home. I was the first and last stop every single day for 3 years. So that was a big culture shock, and I did understand why my mom did it and anything like that. But it taught me how to be diverse. That my world was not just North Philadelphia. You had to go out and see the world and see what the real world was like. So I endured that, and I remember in eighth grade, my first couple of years was terrible because I was very smart, but my behavior was terrible. Like I would get like A's and B's, but threes on my behavior because I was trying to stand out, I was trying to fit in, I was trying to make new friends because I'm in a new environment. I'm from North Philly, everybody was from Maine, Young, from Germantown, so I was in a whole new world by myself. I basically start over at 11 years old, and so that led to me getting in trouble. I got phone calls a lot while I'm home during the first year, sixth grade. I got suspended from school, I think seventh grade, and it was a lot of transition in that time. My mom was still in college. My mom was in CCP for 8 years, so she didn't get phone calls, especially at night from school from my teacher. So, but I was really running wild. Now I was trying to find myself, and I was doing things to get attention, but a negative way. So I didn't let my talents really show off in the classroom, even though I was the A's and B's, but I wasn't really functioning as a student that you want me to be. So so in the eighth grade, I turned it around, my head turned around, and I decided to. They asked the students, anyone want write a speech about their journey while you were here at Dobson, and I stepped up and I decided to write a speech, like knowing that I had a speech problem at that time, even though I was fit, even though people might be laughing at me at the time, and I just put myself out there, and so the schools they say, oh, congratulations, you will probably do a speech, so I got picked to do a speech. My graduation day, eighth grade, I didn't tell my mom, I didn't tell my family that I was doing it. They were seeing the program, so I told her I was doing like a writing assignment, so and I needed help on it. So and then they saw the program at graduation day, saw my name. They were shocked that I was doing a speech. That knowing that this little boy from North Philly that had speech problem growing up is now doing speech graduation day. So that's one of the things that kind of turned my life around because I spoke about my journey and how and how like how God brought us over. Even though I didn't have a relationship with God, I didn't know God, I didn't read the Bible or anything. I know God was there. So me and my mom was on welfare first 14 years of my life, but it wasn't. We embraced it. It wasn't like we complained about it. You know, we had everything. We had food. We had heat. We had lights. We had everything was on, and I didn't have cable back then. But I'm glad I didn't because all the shows I was watching was on Fox, NBC. You know, Fresh Prince, Martin, Never Single, Fame Matters. All my shows were on primetime television, so I was good. I didn't need cable back then. I didn't need cable, so I was all right. And then I remember the same year, '96, my mom was finishing up 8 years at CCP because she would do part time in the mornings and come home and receive me at afternoon from school. So my mom was on last semester. She did this internship program, and she graduated on Mother's Day, '96. And all the way back from graduation, she told my grandma and me, and my grandma and my mom's boyfriend at the time, the big news that they hired her to start CCP. She started CCP the next day. So me and my mom graduated the same year, and but before that, my mom was at every report card conference, every event that I had, every award ceremony I got, my mom was there. So my mom, one of those moms, was very, very engaged, and especially the K 8 years. You know, high school was different because report cards were different times, and they did it differently than elementary middle school. So my mom graduated, and my mom worked at CCP for 25 years. She did registration in front of the Parnell building. She was there 25 years, and she retired in 2021. So, so then for me, I went to Chester University, got my degree in elementary education. I was an RA for a year and a half. I was part of Black Student Union. I was part of Black Being United. I was part of OMA, Almost Multicultural Affairs. Um, I I still I was still on a teaching path. At that time, I was an elementary education major, and I noticed in the classrooms I was the only black male in the class. It's most of the core courses I was on the black male in the class. I embraced it because they showed to me that they showed the students how bad I wanted this and how bad my passion was. So I didn't run from it. I didn't complain. Oh, there's no one else like me in the classroom. I embraced it because they knew how serious I was and how bad I wanted this for the community that I was living in. And see black and brown kids, see a man that had a lot of struggles, had a lot of speech, still could be an educator. So,
Yeah.
so I went through that, went to student teaching, graduated, and I remember it'd be 20 years in May already. It's crazy. It'd be 20 years in May, and I remember but that one year I graduated college, the Mother's Day is the next day. So as my Mother's Day gift, I gave my mom my diploma, my degree for Mother's Day. So so that's and then that same Mother's Day, I got baptized in my church. I got baptized on Mother's Day in my church, and I felt that was the time for me to change, go on a spiritual journey. At Westchester, I started my spiritual journey there. There's thing called Master Builders. They had every Tuesday. The whole freshman year, I started going to about the end of my freshman year. Yeah, I noticed the teaching was so different. It wasn't like church. It was different. It was like conversations. You actually that you got involved and asked questions and you examined your thinking as a Christian. And even though I didn't know what Christian was, but I kind of understand what the Bible was about and how this person was drawing like 150 students every Tuesday in a science building. So, and it was different. And then when I was home my last semester doing student teaching, I joined my church and Highway Temple Deliverance, and I was there a couple summers before, um, just visiting, checking it out, and I saw the pastor that was there. He was very passionate, very engaged. He was a people's person. He wasn't like the pastor I saw on TV at the time that was all about flash. He was just a hardworking person that cared about people. And I joined the church that that last semester, and then 2 months later I got baptized. So, and then from there, and so that same year, right before that same year in February 2020, 2004, there was this murder of a young black boy going to school. He was killed in a crossfire at T.N. Pierce in North Philadelphia. It was right near my house, and it was like a first national big story of and I told God at the time, um, God, if any way I could be back in that school, I'll be there to help them get through that time. And I ain't know what capacity I was being in that role. I was gonna be a teacher. I don't know what that was. So, and then around the summer of 2004, and I was still debating on what I should do, be a teacher. I felt I wasn't ready to be a teacher. You got to take all these tests, get certification. I wasn't ready. Then the guy told me, hey, do city year. There's a community service program where you do a whole year, you get money back, you pay back your loans, for you've done it 10 months. So I did city year. Didn't know why I was doing city year. That was the kind of my backup plan. So I did city year. I remember we went in retreat the first week before you go to start schools, where you decide you get team building activities, you get to know your culture and and get to know people real intimately. And they did a lot of serious workshops that challenge your past, your traumas, and it got very emotional. But one of the workshops they did was they went to the schools, and they were going to be serving that. And one of the schools they were serving that is T.N. Pierce Elementary School. So I knew then God was like, I'm in the right place. So that night I got 2 pages letter to them about why I should be there, how I feel about it. Then they announced the teams, and I was on the team at T.N. Pierce Elementary School. So I served T.N. Pierce for 2 years, and one of the programs I started was the Boys Club for Black men. I had no experience doing it. I was suffering that was needed because a young black man was shot. There was no place for young boys coming together and talk about the issue, and talk about how we get through this. So I had no guidance on how to do it. I just did it. So I met the boys, third, fifth, fourth, the older kids every Wednesday. I started about 6 months, and the boys they were engaged. They were cool, but what took it to the level was we had people from the senior office start coming to the sessions. People that work downtown near the Red Cross building come out of their building and be with my boys every Wednesday. And the boys graduated to the young man, the black man, his name John Armstrong. I can never forget him because without him, I don't know where I'll be, and I don't know where Boys Club would be at that time. So he started coming every Wednesday. The boys were engaged. They had fun. They were learning new things about themselves. And then one of the big workshops I did in that year, I did kind of like a state, like one of the workshops I did in my training. where I brought the fight of the girls, and it was really, really powerful. I had coworkers from different schools come out that day, can you come out to preach to the kids, because it was something where it was around that time where they would celebrate the memorials of young boys' death be a year later. So they needed somewhere to comfort, to talk about their feelings, talk about their emotions, and it was powerful, and it really stirred me up. Say some next year. So next year, I did the Boys and Girls Club. For I had one of my coworkers at the Girls Club, and it really worked out. And ever since then, I started working at school programmings. I became a teacher. I started at two private schools for 3 years, combined 3 years, and then 2013 was a turning point year in my life, and I started Path to Greatness because I was
Path to greatness.
yes,
I was waiting for you to get to this because I was like, you started a lot of things, but when because I remember initially meeting you and you talking about it, you've and I know Juan want to ask you some questions because Juan this is the second week in a row, I believe, where and me and you share a similar story, and I told Juan but the host last week. Rarely, I only have one black male educator. And the fact that, again, for the second week in a row, I'm in a space with two black male educators. And it's saddening, but encouraging at the same time that the most black male teachers I've seen in one space have been online. So Juan, I know you as an educator, do you got any questions for Brother Lavon before he goes in the path to greatness?
Man, well, two things. I want to say this. I was like, your story is like, man, just remarkable. What came to mind was the phrase triumphant journeys. Man, to be able to just triumph in adversity, but then see beyond your own need and go serve your community. I think that's big. I think some of the best educators come from that same mindset. So how important was it for you to educate boys that look like you? How important was that?
I think it wasn't planned. It was something out of coincidence because I felt at that time while I started the boys club that they needed someone, they need to be heard, and they were actually still in that transition. They was going through the death of one of their classmates, and they didn't have that space where they could talk about that and how they felt and what they were going through as young black men in 4th and 5th grade. So and I felt like I had to fill the gap, even though I wasn't ready to do it. But God on my side, so you better start doing something.
Yeah.
So and I didn't talk about math or reading. I talk about things that we dealt with, like anger, forgiveness, leadership, things that our young men need at the time to get through that, so they can share and learn something different from everyday schools. So at that time, that was when the PSA test was really big, and the kids are getting teachers to talk to do out the test. I was like, I had to do something different. I had to get their mind free, and not think about tests. Talk about their journey as young boys, what they were dealing with every single day, going to school and going home to school. What they, cause a lot of the boys I worked with that time, they had a dad in the home. They had a lot of them came with single parents, and they had to be the man in the house at 19 years old.
Right.
So they didn't know how to be a boy. They know how to compartmentalize what happened to their classmates. They had to be the man in the house. So they couldn't learn how to be an actual boy, and learn how to find out who they are, have fun and play video games. They had to babysit or wash the dishes or cook their own dinner, while mom was at work. So I felt like me doing it at the time was different, and also there were also had male co-work teammates at my site. They didn't support me on that, so I was just me by myself. So I had to find people outside my team to come help me out that had the same passion I was. They supported it, but it wasn't in there. It wasn't like they gonna come every week and help me out. So I had to figure it out my own. So I had a incredible boss at the time. She was a female. She was kind of like, I think, a little older than me, but she sparked something in me to say, you need to do this. You need to stop being lazy about it and start doing it, and not do it not do it in fear. because a lot of times if you
Look,
don't
look, what, look. We pointing because I knew at some point you were gonna kind of lead to it. Because that's why Juan been sitting back deeper in the chair. Juan, what have you been saying all year?
Do it scared, man.
do it scared.
Do it scared.
Yeah, doing scared. So that's where it started. And then it kind of blew up. And I had like private people come every Wednesday. They end up also he had to connect with the Fit Up and Soul at the time. We in football, and he got them free tickets to a game. And it
That's
was on
tough.
Sunday. The kids loved it. A lot of them, a lot of those boys were never been outside of their no neighborhood. They never outside, especially after the Uber got shot. They never been outside. So
Yep.
me taking
Right.
them to like the Wells Fargo Center, to see win football and get the food. They were so happy and so elated. It was like incredible.
to
So
get to get that life experience. So you go from the boys. So now tell me, how do you go from boys club to transitioning to girls club to then doing engaging 10,000 students
yes,
over 40 schools in Philly?
wow,
Like
wow. So
break that down for me.
so at the time I was at actually my junior year. I was actually at this place called Playworks, where you actually do lead games with kids, like socialized recess, with all the kids K through eighth grade, and I noticed at that time, December 2012, the middle school students were not being encouraged in a positive way. They were being taught down negatively by staff and teachers, and they felt like the teachers felt they could not get food to them. So I remember one day I was in the office on a Friday. I was watching this Ray Lewis video. While he speaking to the same basketball team, he mentioned about being pissed off with greatness, and that
Mm.
struck with me. I was like, if you're okay, if you're not pissed off with greatness, you're okay being basic. And that was where I was like, wow. I was all like, so I came with this idea. Hey, I want to do a session like a Friday. I want to do a session with the kids where I brought people I knew at the time to come speak life to the students, talk to them, kind of like a career day thing, but it was kind of like, but so at the time, that school it was only one sixth grade, one seventh grade, one eighth grade, so it was small enough that we can do it. So, and I talked to the principal at the time. She was a God fearing woman, and I told her about this idea. I want to do this on Friday. At the end of the day, see what happens. I know Fridays are bad. um,
Right.
so she was like, okay. She said, okay, you can do it. All right. So in between winter break and the time before the sessions, I reached out to people at that time. There was email or Facebook or Yahoo Messenger. So I did Instagram back then. So
Look,
so
Xavier, you're a little young. So there used to be this thing called so the young brother on here, Xavier is young. Xavier wasn't alive when we were doing the AIM. So whenever I always take a moment
yeah. So
to explain, he wasn't outside yet. So
yeah. I was emailing people, and it was going, and then people responded. They were like, "Okay, I'll come down on Friday," because I know is that a lot of people didn't work on Friday, so they were going to work on Friday. Maybe see the kids for an hour. Okay, I could be done with my day. Um, so so I so it worked out. It kind of worked out that the day of the session, it was a rainy, cold Friday. The kids in the recess, they were hyped up, they were antsy, they couldn't do it. So then before the session, I talked to my eighth grade class, that eighth graders at that time. Before this session, I had a hard time wishing them the whole year. So like every time I came there, they were not engaged, they were not participating. So, but when I spoke about, I got guests coming in the school, they were like, "Mr. Vaughn, can I help?" So I remember half the eighth graders helped out that day. But if students started coming, they would come downstairs and get in the oven with them. They would welcome them. They would lead icebreakers with them. That I taught them. They would lead discussions. I was like, where was this the whole school year? So I don't know. I think they realized that I cared about them success. I cared about
Yep.
them. That it was I wasn't doing this as a job. that I brought people in from the outside that really cared about them, that
That's
wanted to see them be succeed. So we did the sessions. We had the kids split up and intermingle with the grades that we're in. I noticed that if you kept the kids in the same class, certain kids will, goofing around and making a bad experience. So I ended up having 14 speakers coming on Friday. All them African American, all of them had business owners, all of them were leaders. I had a couple high school students at the time. They were in high school. They were about to graduate high school at the time. They were there as well. Um, and then what I did was then we did a session. We spoke to the kids. It was incredible, and I know and one thing that stood out to me that at 3:09 the kids dismissed. They want to go home. When the whistle came, over half the kids stayed. They were so enamored that they were talking to ask questions and dialogue with the kids. I was like, wow. And then we did a debrief, about what's going on, how was the event, how was the session, and how they got to know me. One of the speakers came. I had encouraged her to come because she was struggling because she got graduated from Villanova and couldn't find a job. And I was like, she was like, I don't have a job. I don't think I'm not great enough to come. I told her, listen, you graduated from Villanova.
Yeah.
You graduated from Villanova. That's a big school. Like, you should be there. So I convinced her to come. She came. Then she spoke about her experience, about that story, and she broke down and cried that she didn't have a job. One of my speakers there gave her connect to a company that was hiring that time, and she got a job with them a week later. So
man, won't he do it?
Won't he do it? So and then that Monday, I didn't see the impact of the workshop until that Monday. That Monday came, then it was like, Coach Lavon, when they come back again? I was like, oh my God. So basically, the school culture did a 180 turn. So a lot of kids got more involved with me. They got to know probably the grades a little more. So what I did was every Friday, every month for the next 5 months, I brought speakers in and talk about topics that they didn't talk about. I talk about love. I talk about relationships, I talk about anger, forgiveness, leadership, accountability, things that our kids needed at that time that I didn't have growing up. So the kids were really looking forward to it. They got engaged. They were participating. And a lot of the students' behavior started to change for the better. It got so big to the point that we was hosting this other school for playworks because they were supposed to come together the following school year. Most of the 8th graders were leading those activities. And then at graduation, the principal asked me to speak graduation based on the impact that we had with those kids because of the program.
Man,
we weren't in business.
That's a
initiative,
bro. To go from the guy with the speech issue to speaking at 8th grade to 10,000 plus. It's like Jay-Z, selling out shows. To we want you to come speak, man. That's a run, brother. That's a Hall of Fame run.
Gentlemen, we're gonna take a quick break. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have Gail on, and we're going to turn the conversation to what are some of the challenges we're having in the school system here and in Kenya. Gail is from Kenya, so we're going to get him involved with the conversation. We're going to get him to give us an opening introduction, and then we're going to talk to Lavon and Gail and try and just to look at the differences in both cultures. Okay, so let's take a quick break and then we'll come back. We'll come back with some questions. right, welcome back. Welcome back. We've been having a conversation with Lavon Howard, hearing his story, and now we also have Gayo. He's coming all the way from Kenya. Hey, Gayo, how you doing? Gayo, can you hear us?
I'm good. I'm good. Hello, everybody. This is yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. We can hear
Am I
you well.
audible?
Yes, we're hearing you.
We hear you
And
loud and
we're
clear.
live. This is Black History Month here in good old USA, and we're talking about shredding shackles. So why don't you introduce yourself? Let's tell our listeners or audience who Gayo is.
Uh, but thank you so much for having me here. This is Gayo Tumbani Wakoli. I'm 29 years of age. I don't think I'm elder to most of you. Starting from Doc, I think you're my eldest. Maybe I have my age mates, I have my siblings, younger siblings. Xavier should be, but yeah. So yeah, I'm a financial accountant. Thank you. It's been a good occasion. I joined in earlier on, but I wasn't on the video. I was up on the Facebook Live. And first things first, I'm a financial accountant by profession. I'm a sales professional as well, and an enthusiast in entrepreneurship. With all these together, I'm a firm believer of Christ Jesus. And yes, I have to quote it, born again. So in this event, I'm so glad to be here. I was welcomed by Dr. Luxley yesterday. Yesterday. To me, it was yesterday. For him, it was morning. These time zone differences will make it a hassle for me. But yeah, and it's been of a great pleasure for me. I'm here to represent the Hope and Destiny Foundation as the communications in charge. And I believe with this, we are going to empower our fellow men out there, especially the black man. And as a person, I will specifically be attached to the black male. Why it's not a most commonly spoken topic here in Africa because we're all black. But in the States and in the European nations, it is something of a great importance to be noted and spoken of. I've personally attended school, campus level. I was in India for my bachelor's degree. That is in Asia, and you will come across a lot of Indians asking, "Why are you black?" And is it because maybe you don't take a bath or maybe you don't use soap? I think most light-skinned people, if they don't use soap to take a bath, they will start getting the dark pitch. But now this is only in the side of awareness. People are not so much aware that we have a black race, and maybe it's just the melanin difference, and that is not of an issue for us. For us, what we need is internal awareness of ourselves. We need to know ourselves as black people. We need to understand what our potentials are and how good can we occupy spaces in the world. Starting from my own country, Kenya, it is a lovely place. Receive my greetings. Receive on behalf of all Kenyans and Africans at large. We say hi. And you, as our brothers, we say it is always important to connect and find the dots that are missing so that we can be one. One of the things I've encountered at a foreign country, I'm talking of a foreign country out of Africa, is with a skin complexity, you come across a lot of stereotypes, and some of them will end up being racial based. And today's topic of bridging the gap and probably coming into the challenges faced by the black man, I would like to include one of the issues as racism and discrimination, on top of maybe addiction, problems with gambling, workship challenges, maybe relationships, conflict, and financial insecurity. So if we base all these things together, we can all encompass and maybe brainstorm to come up with a solution that will benefit the future man. And this is the modern man. You and I on this platform and those who are listening to us are the modern man who are supposed to get these issues to the core of it. Doctor said the center of the center. Yes, we have to get to the center of these issues and empower ourselves mentally. Actually, one of the issues also has been mental issues where people get depressed due to the current challenges. So yeah, I think I've gone way beyond the introduction, but this is well enough said. And thank you so much for having me here. We will have more to come.
Well,
Man.
you did exactly what I
Man,
wanted you
salute.
to do. I wanted to show a different perspective. Lavon has been talking about sharing his powerful story, and I just wanted you to jump in and just give a different perspective. This morning I was on a call, 3 hour call, as a matter of fact, with Gayo. He hosted the program. We're talking to these youngsters about their future. And Gayo, I want you to share what one of the young man said about wanting to come to America and what your response was to him.
Mm.
There's a slight delay here.
Yeah, slight delay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this was nice. Most of the times when I interact with the young people, I normally like posing questions. I like posing questions. I don't know if you're getting me. Am I audible now?
Yes.
You're good.
Much clearer now?
Gail, can you hear us?
Perfect. Okay, I think yeah, I can hear you now. I hope the delay is gone. We no more have the delay, right?
No, should be. Can you hear us right now?
All right.
Perfect.
Yeah. So in the morning we had a conversation with our young brothers and a sister. One of the questions I posed on this brother is, first of all, the sister. I posed the question to the sister, Faith, who is a student under a Collision with Purpose scholarship program, and I wanted to see what is their thought process like. So the question was, if I gave you capital investment for you to run a business while you are in school, so you are in school and the same business is running back at home, what business would you go for? And she came up and said, I will want the business to be a supermarket. So yeah, that was 10-all for me, and I was like, okay, good. Move on to the next student, Emmanuel. And Emmanuel says, on Emmanuel's question, I took it on a different perspective. If I offered you a chance to abandon everything and travel to a country of your choice, what country will you opt for? So Emmanuel said, I'll want to go to the United States. And so I have to ask why? Why the United States? Why not South Africa? Why not Cuba, or rather, why not Trinidad and Tobago? So Emmanuel says, okay, the United States is a beautiful country. Now just mark that it's a beautiful country. And yeah, what was the other thing? He says, what was this? He says it is a beautiful country, and what kind of like it is a land of opportunity. I will be able to do much. I will be able to do much in the United States than I am able to do it back here in Kenya. Now, to me, I didn't take it on offense because at his age, I was the same. I was not much difference. I could have given the same answers, and then yeah, I did actually. I was so much passionate of going to Japan. I always wanted to go to Japan and see how the technology works there and how they're doing their things, until I went to India for studies. So while at India, I used to tell my other African students, we were all of about 150 plus 100 students in the city Pune in Maharashtra state. And I used to tell them, okay, once I'm done with my studies here, I would love to go to the States. Or rather, no, I would like to go to Canada. Actually, that was the tussle. It's either United States or Canada. And we always came to an agreement later on and said, we don't have to be in the United States to be successful. We don't have to be in Canada to be successful.
Yeah.
Why? We have much resources back here in Africa. And my friends from South Sudan is a young country that attained independence in the year 2011. And they used to challenge me a lot because a couple of them used to get refugee status and go to Australia. Now there is that shiny object we all know. If you check at the currency rate between either the Kenyan shilling or the South Sudanese pound to the dollar is quite higher. It's way much higher. And that was one of the motivating factors that made us, okay, I want to go to the United States, or rather I would like to go to Australia. Now, the life there is not as easy, or rather it's not as exciting as we thought, actually. This is after we had done researches, gone to the online media places and checked how is life in the United States, and all we could find is people of our caliber probably trying to make a living, and comparing to the life we have in Africa, I could put it as this. I'll give an example of the UK. In the UK, somebody staying in a single room pays at about 100,000 Kenyan shillings rental money in a month. And now that money is enough salary for a Kenyan family of 5.
Right.
In the city, actually, not in the village. So now, would you be rather pay rent? And that is actually maybe a 20% or 30% of your income, which you're using to pay rent in the United Kingdom, leave alone the other expenses if you're having daily expenses of gas and accommodate, say maybe transport, a commuter allowance or food or anything. You will be spending a lot of money together compared to if you are in Kenya and earning that just 100,000, splitting it with your family, and then you have a little bit to save and invest. Well, comparing these scenarios, we came up with a plan and said, let's make Africa great. They normally say, let's make America great. Yeah? But then for us, we were, let's make Africa great. And I was a very passionate person. In every gathering, if you could come and find me talking, most people will be like the passionate Kenyan guy, because, and I think this is a character for many Kenyans out there. Sorry. I think this is a character for many Kenyans out there. You'll not find a Kenyan who is negative about their country. We are so outgoing, and we normally find it like, okay, if I'm not able to do it in Kenya, then I should be able to make somebody do it for me, but still in Kenya. You understand? And it is one motivation thing that every other modern man should come and tap on. I'm going to look at to guide us through this one guideline, that is the mental health issues. Now, as a student, we had a lot of mental health issues while we are away from family. Some of us went to campus at 18, 19 years, and we had to complete the whole 6 years without coming back. You see, if you're on scholarship, going to study on scholarship, it's different than the person going to study on self-sponsorship. The scholarship guys might be able to maybe get free air tickets back and forth in between the years of study. But then the self-sponsorship guys, depending on your background, if you are from a well-off family, you can fly back and forth often. Somebody like me, I only had an opportunity to fly back because my dad was on his retirement 2015, and then that had to make me come home. Not because I came for vacation, like I'm going to maybe relax or anything, no. And then 2018, I came to have my visa extended. But then there are people whom I know, like my own brother who had been there for at least 9 years without flying back. Now, 9 years in a foreign country, you're not in touch with family, you'll definitely be depressed. You're not having maybe the personal touch with people. And as a man, it's different, because as a man, you're expected to maybe achieve and be accountable, probably provide to your siblings who are maybe still in school. And we have the pressure of money. This is a financial insecurity now. I have to make a lot of money to make ends meet. And for every modern man right now, this is an issue. I have to go to work, have to be back at home, and I don't have enough money to invest and make say profits out of the business that I will maybe be setting up. So if we look at these issues singularly, we will find that we have a long way to go if we are going alone. But if we are to sit together and maybe put our heads together, it will be much easier, because we will meet people from different walks of life who have overcome such issues. I've personally overcome the issue of depression. In 2020, when I lost my dad, I was so much depressed to a point that I never wanted to maybe communicate what I was going through. And this is actually the challenges with most of the African youth. I can say the African man is a man who is brought up and with the sense of, I have to die with my problems. We're not used to expressing what our issues are. You see, the African man, you live and die with your issues. The only issues you have to handle is, yes, your wife's issues and your children's issues, but your own issues, nobody will handle them for you. And I think this is something that I've noticed, actually, not just for the African man, but every other man out there. Your issues will be your issues, but your family's issues will be your issues at the same time. So you find that every man is battling something which they can't share with somebody to guide them, or maybe to lessen the burden from their shoulders. Now, speaking out, or rather voicing out, is not easy if we don't have platforms like this. That is, we've said, bridging generations and voices of men in a changing world. If we want to bridge the generation, we have to understand, where are we coming from and where are we heading? We're coming from a generation where maybe speaking out your problems will seem inferior. You will be taken as, say, feminine. Okay, that's a feminine character. You're whining a lot. Something of the kind. Yeah, as a man, you have to be strong. You will be told such things. And if we go that way, we will have a lot of men depressed. We will have a lot of silent people dying and maybe crying in their pillows. And out there, we act strong. Now, that one will not make us productive. If you have anybody who is depressed, you will realize they are not productive in whatever they do, because they try to show that they're doing good, but then deep down, they're not. And now, having platforms like this will help us to identify. Yes, we can have counseling sessions, we can have mentors and life coaches coming up, having one-on-one sessions with people and getting to know. So we cannot probably get them to be publicized, but then having one-on-one sessions in a span of 5 years, you will have people come up and say, okay, I was at this place and now I'm here. I think that is the only way that we can be able to handle these issues of bridging the gap in the generations. Now, in Africa, the culture is well diverse. In Kenya, it could be different. Actually, in Kenya itself, we could have maybe 100 different cultures with 44 tribes. So every tribe will have maybe 3 different cultures in sub-tribes. And to bring all these people together, it's important to note that we have to make them understand they're coming from a history which is much cultural to a present moment, whereby we have to embrace the modern facilities, or rather the modern resources that we have to empower the modern man. The olden generation used to probably go hunting and gathering, maybe cattle keeping, herdsmen, but now we don't have those things right now, and we might not be able to tackle such issues if we don't do away with the cultures. We have to, yes, preserve the culture. We have to keep our virtues, values, but then there are some practices that if we have done away with them, then we have to introduce something that maybe assimilates the culture, but then promotes the growth of men mentally. We have had a lot of people giving up platforms where men can come in and talk to each other. I remember there is a group that I was part of. Now, this is not an African group. I was just part of an online group full of Western men. It's called The Modern Man. And here we used to come out and talk of issues facing men. And if I pulled up that same agenda and brought it back to Kenya as a point of reference, I believe we will have many people coming up. Now, this one also has to base on the age groups. It's very important that we look at what age group are you posing this agenda? Because as for me, I will pose it at my youth level. I'll look at people who are between, say, 8 years younger than me and 8 years elder to me. At that age group, then we can all have the same discussions. Things to do with relationships and conflicts in relationships. We have issues with the man to daughter and man to son relationships. If you're not in a position to relate well to your son, if you're not in a position to relate well with your daughter, it will affect them, and then we will not be able to maybe transform our lives in the coming future. So I think we have to tackle things from a younger age to make each of us understand that I don't want us to be brought up the way our fathers were brought up, or rather, I don't want us to emulate some of the practices our fathers took to be in such a position. And coming into child care and upbringing, we will also need to have elderly people, maybe as custodians, or rather, they will be like overseers of us. I don't think we can only lead each other as the young generation. That's why we have Dr. Lagsley here. Yeah, it's very important to have somebody else.
There's
That's a good place to transition right there. That's a great place. What I want to do, thanks, Gail, for laying that out for us. And again, what a difference, right? Different countries, different culture. So different. We're all black people. We're all black people. We're so different in so many ways, but we're so alike. We're so alike.
Right.
And that's why I wanted you to come on and talk about, your story. I'm familiar with what is going on in Kenya. I'm in touch with Kenya. I've been there. I'm not sure if any of the other gentlemen have been to Kenya, but it's somewhere you want to go. Anyway, you need to go to Africa. Go check out Africa. But I recommend Kenya. So this, time is of the essence here. We're running out of time. But what I would like to do now is I would like to ask the host and the guests, let's ask some questions, some specific questions from Lavon and Gail. So, Augusta, you want to go first?
I'll look, since they're both in the space specifically for engaging what appears to be a lot of young men, and I see the parallels between even from what Lavon is doing in Philly and what Gaio is doing in Kenya. What challenges do you find with engaging young men? And this question is for both of you because a lot of the things seem similar. So even with that, what issues do you see with engaging the young men in Philly versus engaging the young men in Kenya?
I think my issue is I think for me trying to engage young men and especially for our platform, Man Talk on is just I don't know. I don't know. It's like I constantly remind them, hey, we got this next Sunday or it's a certain time frame. So it's not like out of the blue. Like they know about what they know about the event. They know what's going on. They know hosted first Sunday. But it's like every time we host it, we go live. They don't get on. So I mean, we try to make topics relevant to them. Try to make sure they have a voice. They can share what's going on. I think the issue is it's like just there's not hunger for us. It's like something's missing for our men. That is hunger for us to come together. Like women come together in like 30 minutes, but men it's a harder time to reach them, and then you gotta believe that you're gonna be on there, yeah. Then so it's like they don't make this. They'll prioritize the seriousness of men coming together and men having a platform where they can talk about issues or successes and be in a space where we come together and network. So and a lot of times maybe it stems from they haven't seen it or they don't see it in Philly as much, of unity and coming together instead of like being a blessing to one another. We always try to be in competition with one another. So I think that's one of the challenges I deal with is trying to get men to at least say the date and at least hold them accountable to be on there. And I always tell people if you cannot be on there, share it with someone else that can't be on there. That could be, you know what I'm saying? So you don't take away the opportunity with someone else that in your network that can get on and learn some valuable things and take away something that they might have even not thought of. So,
Right.
Thank you for that. Let's have they address the same question. Challenges.
Well, thank you. The challenges faced with engaging with young men found them to be quite similar in Kenya and India, actually, because I've engaged much more with young men in India than in Kenya. In Kenya, it's just been for 2 years, since 2022. But for India, it's been for 9 years. And both sides, the similarity is they have all been African men. Now, being a Kenyan student leader, I was a Kenyan student leader for 5 years. And one of the challenges I faced with being a leader to the youth, especially, is you find that most people will want you to take the lead in everything. And yes, taking the lead means actually doing some of the things which they are meant to be doing. If you are in a position to help somebody, also, we normally say if you are carried on somebody's back, you have to hold yourself. You see, that's not a vehicle, it's somebody carrying you, so you have to clutch on his maybe shoulders or wrap your hands around him so that you can be easily carried. But then you find a position where you're carrying somebody and they're not holding themselves, and they end up falling, and they'll blame you for probably not carrying them properly. Now, in reality, what happens is for Kenya, you will be in a position where you want to empower the youth and offer them opportunities. Maybe say, okay, I'll put it in this way. I normally give people skills. I will give you probably sales skills, how to sell effectively, how to start a business, and how to find also business ideas, how to source funding. And at the end of the day, after you have given somebody all these tips, then they will be like, okay, now how do I go about it? They want you to exactly spoon feed them. When you've already told them this is the plate, this is the food, then they will be like, okay, how do I eat? And it's very critical to a point whereby you end up probably having a lot of time to get your point reached to them. One of the issues is if you are maybe setting up a business and you want them to participate in investment, they will be like, okay, I'm going to lose my money if I invest in this. You have to do it first. Let me see you do it and succeed. Then I will join in. And this is there is a challenge in people believing in themselves, one, and two, there is that cultural effect of some so and so did it and failed. So who are you to do it and succeed? People really don't believe in themselves in the initial part. They want to see maybe they want to follow the crowd. I've seen the crowd do this, so then I can do that. I can give an example of Facebook and social media platforms. Something like YouTube came up. It was quite active in Kenya after 2010. I'm well sure maybe after 2012 as well, not even 10. Because at 2012, I was finishing my high school education, and there were not many people actually using the platform YouTube. And those who used it were all for video purposes, watching, and not educational purposes, just entertainment. And if you introduce somebody to such things, such new things to them, it will be like, okay, I don't think this is the right time. These things are just so much hyped out there, and we will find our time to do it. And until later on, until actually 2018, 19, is when I found people so much active using YouTube for learning, using YouTube for research, and maybe now we have other video platforms where we have other learning things happening. So I think one of the major issues is awareness. The youth are not much aware with themselves. The young man in Africa is not so much informed of where he wants to be. He might at least have an idea of, or rather maybe he might just have a passion of saying, I want to be like somebody else, but he doesn't understand what it takes to be there. They might also not be able to understand clearly that for me to be here, I have to take this part. I've come from a generation where people look at things and say, life will take its course. You see, we say, let it be as it shall be. In Swahili, they say, "Ikuwe venye itakuwa." It means no matter what I do in life, if I'm not destined to be successful, I won't succeed. They don't look at the other possibility of saying, if I do something a little bit extra, or if I do something a little bit differently, then I will succeed. So it's just a sense of accountability and maybe awareness, I can say.
And Gaia, we talked about some of that today with the youngster. We're having a Skype discussion with them. So, well, I have a very basic question for Lavon and for you, Gaia. Same question: can a man cry in front of their wife in Kenya and in America?
North Philly?
Come on.
No way.
No, wait, let's let Lavon go first. There's a problem in the family and you're in trouble. Can a man cry in front of his wife?
Yes, absolutely. If he's being vulnerable, I mean, so like I think if it's like something he did bad, that's totally different. But it was like if he really going through something that's vulnerable, that's painful, it's absolutely. I think it's okay to man to cry. That shows that you're human. That you don't have to. That means you tired. That means like you're tired. You're tired of what's going on and you want to change. I think a lot of times men are too prideful to be vulnerable, and I think that is even to your wife, your mom, or the other man. I think that's okay to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Because we watch the NFL draft every year, NBA draft every year. What do you see me doing? When they get drafted, they start crying. So it's okay to cry. So if a man that got drafted to the NFL draft, NBA draft, it's easy a man can cry to his wife, even if he have a bad moment or something like where they going through, they're tired of it. They want change.
I never thought about that comparison, but realistically, yeah, you get these kids who, I mean, I'm a football fan, soccer and football.
I want to get back to his answer though.
Because I say this because dudes will cry in front of millions of people comfortably, but the idea of doing it for their wife.
Yeah. So let's get to the answer from Kenya, from my Kenyan brother. I want to show you perspectives.
So actually, not just crying. It's not just crying alone. But then, as a man in Kenya, and I'm picking Kenya as an example of the African society. You're not supposed to show your weaknesses. In any case, you're broken down. You are going through a lot of challenges, and even to the point of death. Sadly to say, even to the point of death, as a man, you are not supposed to show your weaknesses. And so we've grown up in this kind of setting whereby I will not want to cry in front of even my mom, leave alone my wife and kids. As a son, I would not like to cry in front of my mom to express my pain, anger, or maybe a brokenheartedness. But then there is an option for that. As a man, if you are broken, what you will do is you will take a walk to the woods and go do your things from there and come back when you. All right. So yeah, that's one of it. And then second, I will put on the side of death, because death is one of the saddest things that could happen to somebody in life. And if you lose a family member, a loved one, the mourning period is also estimated. You could have the initial screams, you could have the initial mourning at the point of death. But then a few hours after that, you will not see a single tear. And this is not actually for all men, a few of them. Most of the men, we usually have this saying that you swallow your tears. So you cry, yes, but they're going into the tummy. We say we have swallowed our tears. We know we've cried, but then they have not dropped to the ground. We say actually the tears should not drop to the ground for the kids to see. One of the moral issues about it was to not break the hearts of the young ones. Probably if a kid looks at you as the strongest person in the house and you're tearing down, then there will be so much broken. So we used to do it in such a way that we don't show our weaknesses to the kids. But in real sense, if we found space, I'm sure we will cry. We will cry a lot, but not screaming. We will maybe just have tears flowing and then wipe ourselves dry clean and then come back in front of the family, maybe the wife or kids.
What a difference, huh? Let's move on to someone else. So we're running out of time real fast. One, do you have a question that you want to ask both gentlemen? And let's
No,
try
actually,
short. So we're really out of time.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm just listening to, so many, we keep talking about the differences, but it's amazing how it's globalized and there's so many similarities, just across seas, it's a little different, but, we in the society that we come up in as men, especially black and brown men, we're not, it's not normalized to cry, break down, or share. I'm not going to say emotions. They'll see anger, but they won't see sadness or tears and stuff like that. So there's some similarities.
Yes.
Yes. So much in common. Much in common,
a lot.
So much in common. And gentlemen, I'm encouraging you, if you get the opportunity to go to Kenya, go to Kenya. So Xavier, do you have a question for both
No,
of
I'll
us?
yield my time so we can, stay on track.
Stay on track. Well, we're off track. we way off. It's such an interesting conversation. It's easy to go off track. And in fact, I'm going to invite these gentlemen to come back on because there's so much more we can dive into and dig into with what their experiences, what they've what they're doing with their lives. We barely touch on and what they're doing. Didn't get a chance to explore that, but we'll bring them back. So let's take it to a closing argument. Now we'll start with Lavon. Before we go, what else would you like to say? And just try and make it real brief because we're out of time. Closing argument.
I want to say that for the men here, men that's watching, that you are great, you are awesome, you are kings, and don't let nobody tell you that you're not a king. That you can do all things that you can set your mind to. The only person that you can stop you is yourself, not your mom, your dad, not social media. It's yourself. So re-examine yourself. Pursue your purpose, not your dreams. And if you need help, go get the help there. That's my.
Well said. We'll go to our brother from Kenya. Just a quick closing argument. Just keep it brief, please, because time.
All right, thank you. This is for us who, first of all, thank you so much for having this session. And as we close, I would like us to all go back and keep in mind that we have to raise somebody. Always remember, as a man, you have to raise somebody. It should not necessarily be your biological child, but make sure you have somebody under you that looks up to you and says, it's because of that guy that I am here. So I, as a man, have the responsibility of raising somebody with the societal morals, with strong mental stature, and show them that yes, they have everything they have in them to grow. They don't need anything outside their real self to grow. We are all encompassed with everything. And finally, welcome to Kenya. Feel much at home.
Say that in your language, Swahili.
Oh yes, karibu sana Kenya.
Karibu sana. Let's do
Karibu
the
sana.
right. All right, thank you, guys. Thanks for coming on. Short notice and joining us. So Augusta, closing argument, please. Time is of the essence.
Oh man, thank everybody for coming in. I'm looking to supporting you, brothers. Lavon, as always, anything you have coming up, let me know. I'm looking to support. I'll see y'all all March 2nd. And Gaio, looking forward to Mandazi Hour because I know we're approaching.
Thank you, Augusta. One, you're hot in the hot seat.
Just this quick quote, just from the conversation that came to mind. But Dr. King said that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. So being able to triumph through adversity is the true development of character. So
Wow.
I just wanted to share. That's what came to mind just listening to both of you. So
Love you.
triumphant
X-Man.
journeys. That's what keeps coming to mind. Triumphant journeys. So
Mm. Wow.
Xavier.
But it was a pleasure listening to the both of you two tonight. Remember to go vote. And I'm happy to see everybody on March the 2nd. Have a good time. Come get the scholarship money from the great guy.
Because you keep spending other people's money. I noticed that. You have a bad habit of spending other people's money. Xavier. If it's up to him, we'll be doing 10 scholarships.
Yeah.
hey,
I'm in there. You just said the number.
let's do it.
Well, gentlemen, what can I say? Awesome conversation. Both of our guests, you just deliver as all of the guests we have had in the past. And as always, we've always running out of time.
Yes.
Always running out of time. That is just so, that's a standard. We have 6 of us on, not enough time to really dig as deep as we should, but we need to have different perspectives. So we will always have numbers on. The difference in culture, as much as we're the same. So that's a different. I was in Kenya, and one of the reasons why I asked that question, can a man cry in front of his woman or his wife? It's a no-no. You're weak. You're seen as weak. I was in a conversation with a group of men, lots of bishops, reverends, pastor, young, old. And when I started to share my story I was telling them, they were living through me basically, because I was saying all these things and how I show weaknesses here and there. And I know deep down in them, they're showing the same thing, but they couldn't say it. So they thought that was so interesting to hear someone, a man in front of them, telling the real deal, because they go through it. Just like I said, they go for a walk in the park. And they go shed their tears, or they go lock themselves up in the bathroom and shed their tears. That's exactly what happened. They close the door and they go and bawl their eyes out and dry it off. As if nothing happened, and then they come back out. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, I'm just so appreciative that you all came on tonight, and we're out of time, but I just want to tell you, just keep loving your brother.
Yes.
And keep loving your sisters. Right. And just keep doing good. And Gail said it right. You need to be responsible for someone, for helping someone. And that's what it's all about, right? Lift someone up. That's the key. That's the magic. And that's what we're doing. We're going to Kenya in September. We're going back to Kenya. We're bringing 20 men and women. We're bringing down there to do work in Kenya.
Wow.
We will be connecting with
Welcome.
We'll be connecting with Hope and Destiny Foundation, Minister Patrick Gale, Lady Jessica, and we're going there to work. We're going there to help do what we can. How about that? And learn, and to learn as well. Because when you go to Kenya, you're going to come back renewed. You're going to come back as a different person from when you went there. Because there's so much to learn. You just listen to our brother talk tonight, and you can tell there's so much knowledge there, right? So much knowledge, so much to learn. So, not going to drag this on much longer. A Collision with Purpose presents a colloquium in pursuit of purpose. March 2nd, Augusta said it, 24 hours to go. And Shiloh High School, 4210 Shiloh Road. Wow. Get your tickets, show up. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. So encourage you, if you have not bought your tickets yet, get them. Get them. So we're out of here. We're out of here, gentlemen. If you want to just hang on backstage for a brief minute, once the show is over, appreciate that. But Donald, please take us home. Thank you.